Hello, this is Patrick at OneCNC West, and what we're going to do in this training video is take a look at creating text. Now, I'll also take it a step further and I'll demonstrate how we can apply toolpath or manufacture text as well. Now, before I get started, I'm going to create a brand new layer. Now, you don't have to create a layer to create text, but there are benefits in regards to creating a layer first, and I'll demonstrate that. I'm going to come down to the layer browser. If you can't see your layer browser, just left-hand click on this tab right here where it says layers. Here's your layer browser, and just right-hand mouse click anywhere in there and grab Add Layer. Alright, once we've done that, here's the brand new layer. The X means that there's no geometry on there. Now I want to rename that layer, so I'm going to double click that with my left mouse button, and where it says Layer 2 I'm going to type in Text Example. That looks good, so I'll click OK. So there's a brand new layer. Now, I want all my text to be created on this new layer. Again, it's not mandatory, it's something you don't have to do. But there's some benefits to doing this, and I'll explain that a little bit later on. But in order for our text to be created on this layer, we have to make sure that it's highlighted. So you can see right now it's highlighted in blue. Alright, so let's create some text. We're going to head over to the main toolbar, and from there, underneath the drawing category, we're going to select text. And from the submenu, we're going to grab this option called text, and here we get our text dialog box. The first thing we'll take a look at is inner text. This is where you type in what you want to create. So I'm going to type in XR5. That looks good. Now if I had multiple lines of text, then the justification is important. You have left, center, and right. But because I only have one line of text, this really makes no difference for right now. We are going to take a look though at font attributes. I'm going to left click that, and you'll see there's three different font styles. There's basic, line font, and then true type fonts. If you select true type fonts, you can click here and OneCNC will scan your computer and it will list all the true type fonts available. I'm going to use Arial, so I'm going to come back up and grab Arial. That looks good. And now I can specify bold, italic, and so on. I'm going to go with bold. I'm going to say the height of our text 1 inch, so I'll click OK. There's our preview. That looks good, so I'll click OK. I'm going to take my cursor and just left-hand mouse click right there. Alright, now if we were just creating text for a blueprint or for a note or for something that's not going to be machined, then we're done. That's all you have to do is create your text. You can always go back and change the color. You can change the text and the location, but if it's not going to be manufactured, you're done at this point. But if you want to manufacture this, you want to convert that text into lines and arcs first, and that's really important. Alright, now we have a very easy tool to do that. It's over here within the main toolbar here called Text to Geometry. Now to find it, I'm going to go backwards to the main toolbar. We'll go back to Text, and then instead of selecting text, you'll see it right here. It's called Text to Geometry. Just simply left click that, take your cursor and left click the text, and then OneCNC will convert that to lines and arcs. Alright, now at this point it's really up to you on how you want to machine that. For example, you could come down to stock toolpaths and apply a different pocket operation for these guys here. You might want to profile them, which is perfectly alright as well. But if you want to engrave, if you want to take the center of an engraving tool and drive it on the geometry, then you want to use any one of these 4 commands. Alright? So let's take a close look at these commands. There's cut chain and there's 2 engraves. What's the difference between cut chain and engrave? Cut chain will only allow you to select one shape at a time. Alright? So if I want to machine these 3 characters, I would have to execute the cut chain command 3 times. Whereas engrave all will actually engrave everything that's on the screen here. Alright, so let's demonstrate. Let's start with cut chain. I'll go with cut chain. I'm going to left-hand mouse click the X. I'm going to grab the direction there, hit the F3 key. As soon as I hit F3, OneCNC selects that one shape, and then we're done. I can't select any other shape now. Alright, I already have a chamfer tool selected here. We're going to use that for our engraving. I'm not really worried about speeds and feeds right now. I've got my final depth set to 20 thousandths. That looks good. I'm going to just use standard 1 pass. I'm not going to take multiple depths of cut, so I'm going to hit finish. And there you go. There is the finished text. And so the cut chain is only going to engrave one shape at a time. Alright? Now, let's delete that. I'm going to right-hand mouse click our operation there, and delete operation, and confirm that. Okay? Now, instead of using cut chain, I'm going to use engrave all. But the problem is, if I use engrave all, it's going to engrave everything that's on the screen. That's why I made a layer a little bit earlier on. My text is on a separate layer. So I can simply turn this layer off, and now OneCNC, using any of these engrave commands, will engrave everything on the screen. I'm going to say engrave all 2D, and OneCNC selects all the geometry. Alright, again I have a chamfer tool selected. There's my depth of cut. All that looks good, and you can see that OneCNC now has machined all the text. So that's the main difference between these two. You'll also notice that for cut chain you have a 2D and a 3D option. 3D would be if you want to engrave on a surface. Alright, same for your engrave all. It works exactly the same way. You've got 2D, but if you're engraving on a surface you could select 3D. Alright, so just to recap, cut chain, engrave all, these guys are for engraving. They'll take the center of the tool, they'll drive it on the geometry. Cut chain allows you to only engrave one shape at a time, whereas engrave all will machine everything or engrave everything on the screen. Alright, thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.